Right, boys. Wagwan. How we doing, chat? Let's do a quick audio check. Let me know if everything is fine. Let me know if everything is fine. What's up, JMO? I appreciate that, man. I'm very pleased to hear that you're liking the streams. What's up, Mowgli? Good to see you, man. Good to see you. We've got Nabula with us. What's up, brother? Paul, what's up, man? I'm tired, boss. We're all tired, man. We're all tired. We are all tired. But I'm thinking that we might be getting some real quality trades pretty soon. We're actually working on a new website though, but I appreciate that. Like, very pleased with my developer for sure. But yeah, this is basically our website. I figured to just open up with the website, right? Because a lot of people don't actually know that I'm running a Discord, which is Prime Trading, obviously. So yeah, I'll be doing this more often. Yo, what's up, bro? Get the likes going for sure, for sure. Let's get them likes. Right. So, audio is good. Let's give it a minute, and then we're kicking it off. How are you doing, Grant? Everything good? We're gonna go over a couple of things today. I need to open up extra charts as well. Forgot about that. Let me open it up. Yes, sir. What's up, Ben? Hope you're doing well, man. How do you pronounce your name? Benyin? Benyin? With a Y? Let's get this in the screen. Full screen. I don't want to load everything up. So we're able to see like the monthly and the weekly profiles and stuff like that. No, just Ben. All right, man. That's good. Cool. Where are you from? That's a cool name. I'm right. Says Grant, just done a little light exercise. Oh, bro, I've did like... It was like 3 weeks ago that I went to the gym. And I hit chest yesterday. Like, I don't know, man. The older I get, like, I used to bench, like, my max bench was around 130 kgs. Like, I think the max rep yesterday was 100. Like, within 3 weeks, it's almost like 10 kgs a week that I'm going down. Now that I'm 35. It's fucking horrendous. It's getting worse as well. It's gonna be pretty soon. We're just working out some of the issues that we're running into. And when that's finalized, then we can really start pushing it towards the public. But right now we're just fine tuning everything a bit more. But I'm so used to extra charts right now that I no longer really use Sierra chart, especially for TPO and stuff like that, because it's just it's clean. So let's let that load up. We don't have to have two. We can do one. Let's remove that from the chart book real quick. All right. Maxi. Bro, the thing about Maxi is, like, I see a lot of people whining about Maxi with their funds getting stuck. I'm like, bro, how are you even trading on such a dog shit exchange when we've got stuff like Hyperliquid, right? With your own custody and stuff like that. Why are you trusting, like, a fucking, I don't know, D-tier exchange with your money? Like, I don't know. I don't get it. So, right now we're doing I used to stream every day, like it will be one Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. But right now I'm pushing the VWAP course and I need to have that done by the end of the year. So I'm streaming on Monday, Wednesday, and then Friday. That's the regular streaming schedule right now. When the VWAP course is done, we're pushing it back towards daily streams. And I stream around, what was it? It's 9:30 a.m. UTC. That's when I stream in the group. But it's all recorded. Like, everything of the streams is recorded and posted later on within the Discord. So even if you're not able to make it, you can still just, hit it up. Either way. Let's kick this off. So what is up, everybody? I hope you're all doing well. Welcome back to another live stream on Bitcoin. This stream is sponsored by Bybit. So for those of you who are not aware, if you are a bigger trader on Bybit, let's say that you're at a FIP3, FIP4 tier, I'm doing a 50% cashback on your trading fees. You just need to hit me up in DM on Discord or Twitter, and we'll get you sorted. So let's say that you generate 10K in fees on a month, right? I'll send you back 5K on the fees. It's a win-win for both parties, right? I win, you win. We're all one big happy family at the end of the day. So I think that's a good deal. Today, we're going to be taking a look at Bitcoin, in particularly with VWAP and TPO. Last week, we went over this shorting setup where I said, you know, if we're getting a sweep above this high, that high, and we're rejecting back below the 90-day rolling VWAP, that is your first sign of weakness to get short, which is where I base my tweet on. Like the other week, I posted on Twitter where I'm like, you know what? I'm staying defensive here on Bitcoin and Ethereum because they're both accepting back within the 2-week value, right? They were outlining there, and I'm looking for a rotation lower into the value area low there. So that played out really well. I'm going to go over the actual short setup that we took right there. And I'm going to go over the prep for this week. So yeah, if you have any questions throughout the stream, let me know in the chat. I'll go over all of the questions at the end of the stream so we can have like a smooth transition from trade coverage, weekly prep, and then Q&A. All right? So let's get started. Bitcoin review. Today it is November 2nd. The tick size that I'm using for TPO, let me just make sure that TPO tick size is 65. Let me check the chart book real quick. Yeah, 65 tick size there. And impact for news events. It is a pretty stacked week. Like if we quickly go towards the Forex Factory, like we've got a shit that's, you know, that's not going through with it. But we've got PMI tomorrow at 3 p.m. UTC, so that's what I want to be aware of. So PMI 3 p.m. UTC tomorrow. So if there's going to be a news-driven event, probably going to be around that time. Recent developments, right? First off, let's go over the prep right here that we did here with right here, right? With the rejection here at the 90-day and the 30-day rolling VWAP. How could you have traded that? How did we traded it? And why was this such a significant price point, right? If we go towards the actual chart, I have now updated the chart towards the 3-week value area high. It is almost in line with that 2-week value area high that we had, right? If you do not have TPO whatsoever, then what I would advise to do is go towards indicators. You can go towards, I think it's technicals, profiles, go towards the fixed range volume profile, right? And basically what you want to do is you want to outline the current dealing range that we have, right? Something along those lines. Works pretty well. You can fine tune it a bit more, but essentially it's similar to TPO, right? It gives you a good indication of where price is likely to trade next. Now, in terms of the actual trade, if we plot on the 30 and 90-day rolling VWAP, let's get everything in, remove the 7-day here. We can see that right here. Let me get the crosshair out of the way. It's a freaking it's a freaking Del burp for sure. So we took out the highs here, yeah. We're hovering above the 9-day rolling VWAP there. Let me zoom in a bit more, like that. And then within previous week's stream, I said, you know, this is going to be the first sign of weakness when we're getting something along these lines. So we took out the highs here. This was, you know, the opposing candle that led up to the sweep. We're closing below. That's a bearish shifting structure, right? Then we took out another high. We're closing below the opposing candle once again on the 2-hour chart there. So the close below the 90-day rolling VWAP on its own was already a short setup with an invalidation above this high, right? Because if things are bearish, this is now a protective high and we should start trading lower. The confirmation for a bearish shift was the shifting condition back below that 2-week value area high, right? We got that. So, you know, I don't really care if you're shorting on the lower time frames, higher time frames, the invalidation was there, and we are targeting a rotation lower into that 2-week value low. So we got that trade going, right? Good to see. Now that we got that out of the way, this was a super clean rotation. I think there's really, you know, there's 2 trades leading up to next week that are really worth our time. And that's what I want to focus on today. So first things first, we're going to be taking a look at VWAP. And for that, I want to start with the yearly time frame. Now, for the yearly time frame, right here, what Bitcoin has been doing is it has been trading around this dotted line. Now, this dotted line is the previous year standard deviation tree from 2024, obviously. Resistance, Then we had support, bit of a deviation right here, right? Deviation. And then each time we took off. The only change in dynamic that we have right now is that every attempt at the developing year value high, which is this upper half, right, got met with a good amount of buy side, right? So short-term interaction, continuation higher. Short-term interaction, continuation higher. Got the same story every time that we started to retest that. Right now, if I zoom in a bit more, this to me is an indication that, you know what, we're spending a bit too much time here within developing year value. And we've got the previous year standard deviation tree slightly above us. Confluent with standard deviation 3 or the standard deviation 1 on the yearly, right? My bad. So as long as Bitcoin isn't able to reclaim this as support, this to me looks bearish with a potential destination of this low and potentially the yearly VWAP. So let me just get this on the bigger screen. Look at this right now, right? Bitcoin is unable to break away from value. That's not good because it reminds me of the consolidation that we had here. This is the developing year value high as well, right? Consolidation around the value high. We're unable to break away from value. So to me, that's an indication that we need to become a bit wary about this current situation and be mindful that there is a potential, potential outcome that we start retesting the developing year VWAP, right? And then if we accept below or, remain rotational, value area low is also a possibility. Now, fast forward to what we have today. We had some really clean interactions with developing year value. 1, 2, 3, right? Notice how with each interactions, we don't have the amount of time and space within value as we have right here. So there's two potential outcomes on the higher time frame. The first one is Bitcoin remains unable, let me just draw this right. Bitcoin remains unable to reclaim the yellow box. If it is unable to reclaim the yellow box, right? We took out this high. The drawn liquidity is this low, and that structurally VWAP is the next likely destination. Acceptance below VWAP, and we're gonna go way lower towards the value area low, right? But let's just not think about that yet. I do think if there's gonna be a black swan or whatever, and we're getting like another flush lower, yearly VWAP is the area where you want to be putting a lot of, if we start to get a reversal down here, I think that's gonna be the low somewhere within this box, because there's also the yearly rolling VWAP down here, which I will show you guys in a bit, but that makes this a great location to look for longer term buys, and I'll show you why. So the yearly acceptance within developing year value. But of course, we don't have the yearly on its own. We also have the quarterly. So let's bring the quarterly up on the bigger screen. And as we said within the previous stream as well, like Bitcoin wasn't able to accept above. Look at this H4. Like this is as nasty as they come, right? We tried to break above, get back below, huge push above, and then we got an H4 close below previous quarterly VWAP. This on its own was already good enough for a short invalidation above the high, and we're targeting value area low, right? And then we accept below value area low, retest this resistance. Where do we go? Next level, right? This is the quarter two value area high. Now look at that initial reaction, right? Clean. So on the quarterly, Bitcoin is pinched between the current value area low from the quarter and the quarter two value area high. We're ranging within these two extremes, similar to what we did down here. Acceptance above, to start targeting previous quarterly VWAP, right? Acceptance below, and we're done for. We're gonna go towards yearly VWAP, okay? Until then, range bound within the quarterly values. Monthly. Super interesting. Why? Because we've got new, fresh previous month value to work with. Really nice. That means that the range that we're currently trading within on the month is defined by previous month VWAP, which is around, let me take a look, 114K, and previous month value area low, which is around 109s. So let's say that heading into next week, Bitcoin tries to break away from monthly value, takes out this low and reclaims it as support. I think this is a potential buying opportunity for a rotation higher towards at least these equal highs, right? And then, I don't think that we're going to go all the way back up towards previous month VWAP. But if we do, I think this is the area where sellers are likely going to go and step in, okay? Besides that, nothing out of the ordinary here. We're just rotational within the lower bands of previous month value. Then the weekly, let me get a bit, I don't know what this anomaly was within Coinbase. I think somebody was like, you know what, I'm getting the fuck out, which is why we're getting this weird ass anomaly in the term of a wick. But essentially what we're doing here is the market accepted back within previous week value, retested it to the tick, resistance. Where do we go? Opposite extreme, right? Really clean interactions again. So now I'll be mainly waiting for new previous week value. Is it going to be super important this week? In my opinion, not that important because we've got overlapping values with the yearly, quarterly, and the monthly. So whilst I am aware of the weekly value and the upcoming previous week value, I'm putting a bit more emphasis on the monthly, quarterly, and the yearly. So let's wrap everything up and write it out. So on the yearly, what did we say? We had, let me get the mic out of the way. We had acceptance within developing year value, previous year standard deviation, tree is bearish, line in the sand. All right, the quarterly, rotational between recent previous quarterly value area low and quarter two value area high. Simple as that. Monthly, new monthly value, rotational within a lower half. Then we have the weekly, rotational within lower half of putting more emphasis on monthly and quarterly. All right, that brings me towards rolling VWAP. Let's go towards this chart. Let's get rid of all the drawings here. Let me just check out the rolling VWAPs here. Let's bring back the 7-day because we want to be aware of that. 7-day rolling VWAP. Okay, there we go towards the daily chart. And I think that the thing that I continuously say during the streams is why the 365 day is always a good indication of looking for longs, right? It's where I based my pinned tweet on. I think it was the low for the previous interactions. And honestly, can it be that easy that we're getting like that third interaction here with that yearly rolling VWAP? I don't know. My balls are basically tingling about the fact that we might be doing something like that. But I think if we do revisit the yearly rolling VWAP, we might just be breaking below and then start a year-long bear market, right? In my opinion. But you know what? I'm going to give it the benefit of the doubt that if we do revisit it, sure, I'll be buying it for a third time because it's been working well for me, right? I've been buying the reclaim here, right there. Been buying this, that. And then if we got like, the funny thing is if you compare the sentiment around these lows on Twitter and then you would overlap them on this yearly rolling VWAP, it's actually hilarious how that lines up with everybody is like, oh no, we're so done for, we're going to go for new lows. And that's actually the point of, max opportunity where we're forming a high time frame low and we go towards new highs. So if we get something along those lines, I expect this cluster to remain resistance for as long as, we're trading below. And that the 7-day might cap upside intra-week for a move into the 365-day rolling VWAP, confluent with yearly VWAP around 101-ish. So this box right here, that's going to be new girlfriend territory right there, right? If you're getting long there and we can offset that above the highs, like this is definitely what you want to see. Now, from a higher time frame perspective, right? What would invalidate the bearish thesis? Because, we can yap all we want about potential lows or potential retest of the yearly rolling VWAP all we want, but we also need to have a plan where if the market starts auctioning above a certain level, where are we wrong on the thesis, or where should we be really aggressive in terms of, hey, you know what? We definitely have a shift in structure here. We're going to go towards the highs, right? So to as a counter argument for my bearish case that we're unable to reclaim the 90-day, I would say this is starting to look like that meme inverted head and shoulders, right? Don't shoot me, right? I'm just the messenger here. Don't shoot me, but starting to look like it. And if Bitcoin can accept above the 90-day rolling VWAP, that's a shift in trend for me. And I think at that point, we're going to go back towards the highs, or at least to fill in this gap, maybe into the supply, right? But that's, the area where I'm like, okay, let's go back risk on for a move towards the highs, okay? So that's going to be the invalidation. That is why, the 90-day is also confluent. If I put back the drawings, I think, yeah, it is also confluent with that current 3-week composite, which I will show you in a bit on TPO. So in terms of a bearish line in the sand, this is it. Bullish line in the sand, high time frame, yearly VWAP, confluent with the 365 rolling. So 101-ish and 99K. Like this is the big dick territory right there. All right. The BD. Back to the prep. rolling VWAP. 7-day is confluent with previous year standard deviation tree. 30-day is confluent with 90-day. 90-day is confluent with 3-week value area high. And this is our bearish line in the sand. All right. TPO. Let's take a look. First things first, I want to take a look at the weekly profile. So we go towards a weekly profile here, like that. Let's extend that. So a weekly profile right here. I would argue that everybody can agree that we've got 1, 2, 3 weeks of overlapping value, right? Value areas are in line with each other. So what we'll do is start merge selection, stop merge selection, bang. 3-week composite. I want to have a rectangle like that, right? And I want to expand it throughout time. Bang on as a 3-week value. So for me, this 3-week composite, when this next week opens up, let's say that we're trading down here, right? Right here. Let's say that we're trading here. When we start trading towards the lower boundaries, everybody's probably going to get really bearish. If we try to break below, perfectly fine. I won't be taking any trades on a breakdown trade. But if the market then tells me we got a break in structure, I think that this is a failed auction below a 3-week value area low, and that the next likely destination is going to be point of control. Reclaim that, and we're going to go all the way back towards the value area high, right? So, you know, as long as you're trading within this 3-week value, the best trade locations for your high time frame swings are based on the value area high and that value area low, right? These are going to be super important, okay? So make sure that you write that down. Now, reset TPOs like that, and let's go back towards a daily profile. Profile split by day. So in terms of daily profiles, we don't really have a clean composite to work with here. Maybe if today starts trading lower and we form a profile like that, and then another day like that, I'm like, okay, you know what? We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days of overlapping value. Then I'll be looking for a potential fade right around the extremes of value, similar to what we would do with the 3-week value or the 2-week value from last week. Any failed breakaway from value is a good reversal trade towards the opposite extreme. Conversely, if we try to break above value area high, we fail to do so, I'm gonna be looking for shorts nonetheless. Okay, what else do we have? We've got naked point of control there, 107, naked point of control 105. We've got a naked point of control there, and we've got a poor high intraday. We've got like a shit high there as well. So it does make sense to fill in some of this right into the gap, and then maybe revisit some of these lower inefficiencies there. So let's write everything down, right? We've covered a bunch here. Let's go back towards the prep. Where are we? TPO. We've got from the 3-week value, rotational within. We have poor highs intraday, naked point of controls below, naked point of controls above. So there is definitely enough reason, and I would say potential 5-day composite value area in the making if we remain here for another day or two, right? Let me just make sure that that's right. Day or two. Let's go back to X. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, so another day or two. Yeah, all right. So that's it. So in terms of the summary, bit difficult one. Well, not really, but let's try and make sure that we're not writing an entire essay about this. So hard time frame, Bitcoin is looking shaky so far with the failed reclaim of developing year value area high. Previously, this has caused a deeper retracement into the developing year VWAP, which is currently at 101k, almost confluent with 365-day rolling VWAP. We also have new monthly value, a monthly value to work with, and it is going to be my level to look for intra-week longs for a move. Don't mind the typos, higher towards the previous year's standard deviation tree. Considering the poor structures above. This is based on TPO, right? The poor structures in the form of anomalies above and below price. Above and below. I will focus on which gets taken out first and trading it back towards the other anomaly. Right. So essentially going back towards extra charts, I'm aware of this shitty high structure. I'm aware of that poor high. I'm aware of this inefficiency there, right? This small gap. Usually we tend to fill that in. And then we've got like the form of a naked value low there, naked point of control, naked value low, naked point of control. So there's definitely a bunch of anomalies down here that needs a bit of cleaning up to do. So whichever comes first, I'll take that trade. All right, let's get that out of the way. Reset chart view there, session profile. So we took out, did we take out London high today? Took out the poor low in Asia. All right. Okay, back to it. Narrative. This week, the plan remains simple. Why? Because we're going to be looking for shorts on a sweep above the highs for a rotation back into the previous month value area low and potentially yearly VWAP. For longs, I want to see either a bigger sweep of the lows, and I'll show you in a bit, and reclaim of 3-week value area low for longs, or a smaller sweep into the previous month value area low for longs back towards the poor highs from today. Let's go back to a regular chart. Let's go back home, right? Let's go back home. From a daily perspective, by the way, look, we've got this day, right? Right now, we've got 1, 2, 3 inside days from this current day. So to me, like if you're playing a liquidity game, whichever side we are sweeping first, the next draw on liquidity is probably going to be on the other end. For example, right here, we took out this daily high, right? Where's that daily low? It's right there, right? So for example, right here, we took out the daily high, right? Where's the daily low? It's here. So we just continue to play this game, right? So we've got a lot of inside days here. I think the draw on liquidity is going to be on either end of this daily profile. But on this chart, we have got the 3-week value area high, value area low. Had that deviation back within. Where did we go? Opposite extreme. Reclaim. Where did we go? Opposite extreme, right? Retest, opposite extreme. Reclaim, opposite extreme. So there's no need to try and force any dog shit trades in the middle of value. We're going to be focusing solely on the extremes there, okay? And maybe I'm making an exception right there. So the high post for me for this week, higher time frame is going to be, I don't really like these equal lows here. I'll be honest. I don't really like them. I don't fuck with them, right? I would prefer to have like some more X's below these lows. So if Bitcoin decides to do a bit of this, everybody getting super scared, right? Take out this low and then reclaim the 3-week. I'm not going to go long here with a stop below the low because that's just retarded. I'm just going to be waiting for a setup to form. And for me, a setup that needs to be, let's say that we do sweep it and then we start trading back here. What I need to see is a short-term low getting breached and then a structural break. Then I can get long there with a stop below the low, right? If we take out a previous low. I'm going to be targeting these highs into the previous standard deviation tree and potentially the 3-week value, which is confluent with the 9-day rolling VWAP. That's the long scenario. In terms of getting on side of shorts, what I need to see here, let me just zoom in a bit more. What I need to see is these are the poor highs intraday. These are the shitty highs that we had on the TPO. There is a gap here, also evident on TPO as well. So if Bitcoin decides, you know what, we're going to be having a bearish week and we open up the week and we instantly start trading higher, we take out the highs, bearish structure, right? Similar to this, right, where we spike a high, then we close below the opposing candle. That's your entry point, stop above the high. If we get something like that, opposing candles, we take out the high, we close below the opposing candles, right? We get into a short invalidation above and we're targeting previous month value low and then the 3-week value low, right? So if we were to do this, high, sweep, market structure break, consolidation, bang, back towards the previous month value low and potentially the 3-week value low, right? That's the bearish case. Bullish case was, if we do this, we start trading there, up close candle, we take out a bunch of lows here, right? Also to the left side of the chart, and we then reclaim this like that. I'm not going to be blindly longing this into the previous month value low with a stop below the low. No, what I need to see is a lower time frame. I'm going to be switching towards the M5, or if you're familiar with session profiles or order flow, you can look at some absorption. You guys know what I'm meaning by that for those of you who are trading order flow. So essentially what I need to see is a lower time frame low getting formed. We breach that low, then we form a market structure break. That means I can put my validation there, get long here, and I'm going to be targeting the drawn liquidity into a key contextual level, because I'm not just choosing any low or any high. It needs to be paired with a contextual level in the form of VWAP, TPO, whatever, right? Or if you're a moving average trader, moving average is perfectly fine as well, as long as you're basing your trade thesis around a contextual level. That brings me towards arguably the most important part of the prep. It's not necessarily knowing where and when to trade, it's knowing where we are wrong on the trade ideas, all right? And that is, so the hypos I've just covered, and that's the line in the sand. So in terms of a bullish line in the sand, if I want to be looking for longs, where am I wrong on the trade idea, right? Am I wrong on the trade idea when I'm looking for longs below previous month value low or below the 3-week value low? In my opinion, it's going to be acceptance below the 3-week, right? Because we can do whatever we want here, and I'm not going to be shorting this because we've got higher time frame support just below, right? Even if I want to short this, I would rather wait for this to break lower, short, stop above the high and see how low we can go, right? But for me, the bullish line in the sand is going to be the 3-week value low, intra week or for the next couple of weeks. Higher time frame to go back towards the rolling VWAPs. Higher time frame, this box right here, from 101s towards 98k. Like we can even do it like a bit better, bigger, right? Let's just say that we overshoot it by something like that. This right here is the difference between us becoming extremely happy in Q4 or wrapping it up. Don't look at the charts for another 365 days. Because look, once we break below, right here, we broke below at January 1st or January 5. That was here. Acceptance below, bear market, everybody euphoric. We're going to go for new highs. Nope. Bearish rejection, boom. How long does it last? It lasts until January 17 when we break back above. So almost a year, right? So I don't know if it's going to take another year. But what I do know is that I'm not getting cute by allocating spot whatsoever if we're not able to accept above the yearly rolling VWAP. Well, you know, but you're missing out on these lows. I don't give two shits about that. I need to see the confirmation on the higher time frame trend, right? I need to get that genuine break above the rolling VWAP on the year. And then maybe I missed like, what was it? 10K, 20K? I don't really care, right? I'm getting in here and I'm riding it out. All right? So to write that down, we said chart view. Let's go back here to write that down. We've got the bearish line in the sand. Where am I wrong? Oh, bullish line in the sand was the short-term 3-week very low, long-term 365-day VWAP. Bearish line in the sand. Where are we wrong on the trade thesis in terms of looking for shorts? Are we wrong on shorts when we start trading above the previous standard deviation tree? Or 3-week value high confluent with the 90-day? In my opinion, this cluster right there, right? So I'm looking for shorts up here. If we're getting it, we can do this. And I'll still not get bullish because it's essentially the same where if we're taking a look at ETH here, you know, this was that Ethereum chart 2.5-week value. Look at how clean that is. But let's clean up these clusters real quick for ETH. Let's get rid of these and just make sure that we've got a clean chart. Everybody got super bullish, right? Where are we? 90-day rolling VWAP, guys. Like there's nothing to cheer about. Then we accept it back within that weekly value. Super bearish. Where did we go? Value area low. So I also saw some comments on Twitter that when I was posting about being defensive, they said, you know what? We've got FOMC tomorrow. Is that going to influence your trade idea or anything else, right? And I'm like, I think everybody, including all of the macro experts that claim to be fucking experts on Twitter, everybody's better off to just trade the charts. It's in the charts anyway, right? We've got like that famous quote by, I don't know who the fuck it was, but he said, show me the chart and I'll tell you the news, right? So essentially, if we start to accept backward in value, probably gonna get, I think Stoic from Twitter, he posted a visual with the yearly rolling VWAP, and then with all of the lows, based on that yearly rolling VWAP, how that was keyed up with key events. Super bearish news, right at the lows, right at the yearly rolling VWAP. And in my opinion, you're better off just trading your actual system. I don't give a fuck about FOMC. I'm aware that we've got like the funny part as well about the 25 BPS cut. Everybody was like, it was already baked in, right? Everything is priced in, trust me. And then if you're looking at the CME group, like for that data point, it was a 99.99% certainty that we're getting a 25 BPS cut. And we're still getting fucking guys on Twitter that are like, oh, is it 25 BPS cut? It's gonna be bullish. No, right? You're only getting like a big repricing when we're getting news that is not expected, right? Then the market has to do something. But if something comes out that's already expected, like what the fuck do you think is gonna happen, right? Nothing. So yeah, that's my rant done. So in short, right, you guys now know that we're looking for here. Bearish line in the sand is there. We're looking for either along like that, then reclaim it, or big ass sweep and then reclaim it. I don't know how low we're gonna go, if we're gonna go. And then I'll play the continuation trade if we're getting above this cluster right there, and I'm targeting these highs. I have no interest in trying to force anything at resistance. Might mean that I'm losing, a better entry. I don't really care about that, right? I'm more for preserving capital and let the market show me what we're gonna go in terms of, instead of guessing what we're gonna do. Okay, so let me just write this. Short-term 3-week bearish line in a sense gonna be 90-day rolling VWAP. No. Short-term standard deviation previous year standard deviation 3. Long-term 90-day rolling VWAP. So is that clear for everybody? Like in terms of the Bitcoin trades, the analysis, VWAP, back towards TPO, do we have any questions so far? Or not so far, but do we have anything? Yeah, like this right here, like that meme version as well. You guys are gonna love this update. For sure. Right, look at that. Picture perfect trap there. Initial low, breakout traders, initial stops, sweep it, reversion. Here as well. I cannot share this TPO layout with you guys yet because this version is not released for the public. We are actually testing this version right now. We're putting it through a number of tests and then it's gonna go live. Let me catch up on the chat. So for those of you who are tuning in and want to know what the trades are, I suggest you go back towards the beginning and watch the entire stream. We went over everything. For those of you who made it this far, let's get the likes in. We've got 130 peeps right now. I need to see some likes. Let's get it going. So let's get into the Q&A part. Please, what's the 5-day composite? The 5-day composite is right here. This is the 5-day composite. Right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Like that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Start merge, stop merge. Like that, right? And then we're plotting this. That's basically the 5-day, but it's the only composite that I can actually work with right now. And considering that this is such a long time ago, I'm going to be putting a bit more emphasis on VWAP because I think previous month, previous quarterly VWAP and so on are way cleaner at this point. Reset there. Will you merge the last 4 months? Let me just take a look at the monthly profiles here. Monthly profiles. Let's get this full screen. So you're saying the last 4? No, because this right here to me, like this is a breakaway month for me. Value is actually here, And then we had like 1 to 3 months of overlapping value. If anything, if you want to merge anything, I would suggest to just start merging these months right there. Give you a monthly composite. But the reason why I haven't annotated this monthly value is because it's in line with the current 3-week value. So I don't want to overcomplicate things with having like a million lines on a single chart, if you know what I mean. But the last 3 months is a good composite, okay? Profile split by day. I'm gonna hold that long into daily VWAP. I think that's a good one, yeah. Let me check. Yeah. Look at that, bro. On a fucking weekend. Damn. Yeah, back into VWAP is good. Maybe into that high as well. I don't know. Okay. What else? My Chrome team. Like what? This color? I'm gonna need to look that up. I cannot close this window because you'll see an image of me in my speedos, bro. Like I got pink speedos behind this visual. Can't do that. So what level of this break it will go all time high in your opinion? So in terms of super high time frame, if this is indeed gonna be like accumulation before the next high, I'll have my eyes on the standard deviation 3 and 4 from the developing year. So anything in between 137 and 150 right here is where I think we're gonna be forming the cycle high then. But I don't know, man. Like there's two great cases to be made here where I'm like, okay, you know what? This is starting to look like that meme inverted head and shoulders, which would take us towards new highs at least, I think. Maybe something like that. And then I think we're going to be sweeping the highs. So the first target is going to be there. But we still need to reclaim this cluster as support. Below VWAP, above standard deviation 2. There. Or 3, my bad. Or 4. No, it's 4 from the previous year. Damn. I can't check my settings because I'm too scared that I'm showing you in my speedo, bro. Like, I'm not even joking. Like a pink speedo, broski. Pink speedos. I'm loving your work. I'm leaning towards a yearly view retest. I think that's the play as well. I like that. But the good part is, like, when doing a prep like this, we don't really care, do we? I don't give a shit if we're trading up or down. I know if we do trade up, and we reject there, it's a good trade for me to try and trade it back into the previous month value area low. If we trade lower and, you know, do something like that, I know it's a good long for a move back towards the highs, or even if we do this and then reclaim it, right? And then I'm not getting into any trades here, but let's say that we are starting to trade above here. I'm not going to be shorting this because it's a shifting condition on the year, on the current 3 weeks, on the 9-day rolling VWAP. At that point, things need to be shallow retracements. This is always why I'm saying on Twitter, if this is indeed bullish, retracements shouldn't be like this, like that, and then continuation higher. Shouldn't be like that. It should be everybody missed the first move. Everybody's waiting for the point of origin where we broke from value or broke from above a range high, right? Everybody's waiting for that. Nope, we're not giving that, right? Everybody's waiting for at least 50% retracement. No, we're not doing that. Continuation higher. Like this is what the pain rally really is about, right? It doesn't matter if it's up or down. It's about not letting anybody get in. For example, right here, right? We break above the 9-day rolling VWAP. Shallow, more up. Shallow, more up. Shallow, more up. Shallow, more up, right? So everybody is waiting for this retest, but we're not getting it. I'll tweet about it bidoy next time about the team. Don't worry. I'm gonna tweet when I'm done with streaming, okay? And the family's doing great. Thank you for asking, man. We had a good weekend, for sure. We had a good weekend. I'm deciding whether or not I should be hanging out Christmas lights already because, you know, we're living in the Netherlands. Like, it's a dark fucking week with a lot of rain. I need to have something fun to look at. In terms of trades, if you're a price action trader, for example, let's see, 30 minute. Can we see something from this point? I think this is a good example here. Mainly what I need to see is I need to see a low in terms of longs. It's the opposite for shorts, okay? But if you're looking solely for price action setups, I need to see a low that is being breached. And then I need to see displacement where we close above opposing candles for longs, right? So if we're getting that right here, we're sweeping the lows. What is the opposing candle that led to a sweep of this low? It's on a 30-minute time frame right now, right? It's this bar right here. I'm not using the high, by the way. I'm using the open or close. I'm using the close, my bad. I'm using the close, right? So when we close through, I'm long and I have my stop below the low and I'm targeting another contextual level. That was some displacement, right? Sorry. So that's in terms of price action, right? It's the same for shorts where, for example, here, right? Let's say that we traded a key level. We take out a high there. What was the opposing candle that led to this move upwards? You could argue that it's this one. Even this one doesn't really matter, right? The moment we start to close below, I'll get short with a stop above the high and I'll target, you know, previous pool of liquidity or whatever. So essentially what we have here is a high, breach of the high, structure break, get short. I'm not waiting for a pullback. I'm just shorting this right away on the close and I'll have my invalidation there. Because usually what happens with Bitcoin or crypto in general is if things are genuinely bullish or bearish, like we got the structural break, but there's not going to be a pullback, right? There's just going to be continuation lower. So, you know, that's just what I'm used to with trading. In terms of order flow, like what I like to look at myself is I don't like to look at all of the numbers, right? I don't like of all of the values being colored. I need to know where is the anomaly in terms of volume. Let's go across it real quick. So I need to know, okay, where's a anomaly in terms of volume coming into the market? Then I need to see an initial low. Let me just see something. It needs to be, I want it to be perfect for this example. For a good structure. Let's see what we have here. Let's see what we have there. Let me see. I don't know. I don't want to take up the entire stream trying to look for a picture perfect trade. But usually what I tend to look for is we need to see an initial low, right? Then I need to see a drive below that low right here. And I mainly trade on trend reversal 9664, or you can look at it on a range bar chart, for example, 100 or whatever your preference is. But what I like to see is an increase in participation, meaning if I'm looking for longs, I need to see an increase in shorts, right? I need to see an increase right there. I need to see an increase in shorts, and that ideally goes accompanied with an anomaly within volume, right? If I zoom in here, let me zoom in for you guys. So right here, this is that low right here. And leading up to that low, we had like regular amounts of volume. And then all of a sudden we've got 113 million volume at the lows, right? We've got 23 million negative delta. Now, is this a quality trade on its own? No, it is not. When would this low right here be a trigger on the close for me? It would have been a trigger if we would have closed above at the high, because that's an indication to me that everybody that went net short within this rotation is now offside, and we're probably going to go back up to the highs, right? I need to see, no matter if it's longs or shorts, I need to see participants that are getting offside and that so we have squeezed material. I need to see a reason for it to go back up. Now, that often goes accompanied, for example, let's say that this bar closed at the highs. If we're taking a look at this bar statistics right here, if that would have been the case, what we would have seen is a large increase in volume, a large increase in delta minus, right? And then delta max doesn't really matter. Like this is the net longs right there. But then we've got like the delta candle close. This is negative 23 million as well. This should have been positive. So let's say that we get negative 23 million at the low and we close as 10 million positive. That's an indication to me that we've got like a fuck ton of shorts getting absorbed at the low and they're now offside, right? So then if that would have been the case, this bar would have looked like that, where we closed above at the lows, and this would have been a wick, right? Because then everybody was looking like, oh no, we shorted into a string failure pattern. We're now going to go back up, right? But if we don't get it, and I see there's a large increase in shorts, I'll just wait. And for what? I'll wait for these guys to get reclaimed. So on this candle close there, I'll be a buyer in validation below the low. Because my anticipation or my reasoning is that if you're short and you see that you're offside and you realize, oh fuck, I shorted into a swing failure pattern right there, I want to get out around break even, which is often the reason when the next bar opens up, we come back into the value area from this rotation. And that's support. Because all of these shorts are like, oh, get me out, get me out, get me out, right? I fucked up, let me out, let me out. And then it's support, because when they want to close a short, they need to buy back, and then we rotate higher. Same story here, right? So, does that make sense? My reasoning. Should make a bit sense, to be honest, but if it doesn't, make sure to rewatch the stream. Laurie, that's personal preference, man. Personal preference. You're welcome, man. Great question, to be honest. Can you please check 3110 2025? 3110 2025. 3110. What time? 9:03 a.m. This one? I will see you tomorrow, Mowgli. Take care, buddy. Have a good one, man. Let me out. Let me out. Let me out. Fucked up. Damn. First off, for me, it's really hard right now because I'm not sure what the context was behind the trade. Like, was there a level right here in terms of previous week value or previous month value? And then secondly, sometimes when you're looking for shorts or longs for that matter, right, you just need to wait for that initial sweep. So the reason why I said like a minute ago, when we form an initial low, that lures in the early shorts, right? That lures in, one is the early shorts are now looking, they will have their stops above this high. Number two, we've got breakout traders looking at this high and they're like, oh, you know what? If we start to trade above the high, I'm getting long because this shit is going to go towards 120, right? And then when we rotate back into the high, positive delta right there, is this enough on its own? Not really, right? Would have this been a trade that I would have taken? Maybe if we would have gotten more buy delta at highs, I would have shorted this. But again, it's hard for me because I don't know if there was a contextual level here, right, in terms of trades. But I think you were, not necessarily wrong, but I prefer to wait for an initial high to form. Let the first high form. Does mean that sometimes you're missing out on some trades, sure, but let the first high form and then we stop out the early shorts, reclaim it, right, and then we start trading lower. Daily value area high. Okay, if it was daily value area high, then if we're sweeping this high and then we're reclaiming this like that, did you take another trade? Because you should have. Did anything change between one stop out and then sweep high and close back below once more? Like, did anything change in terms of your trades or in terms of your bias? No. Yeah, I'm not saying that the trade was wrong. Like, it was a large increase in volume. Sure. And we closed below. Like, this could have been a good short. But with trading, this is why risk management is so important, because the only thing that we can really account for is our sizing and the risk we take per trade. I would even argue that if I was actively looking for shorts at previous day value high here, I would have taken this another time. Like I've got like a 3 limit rule for my trades. Like if it's not within 3 tries, then I'm out, right? But that means that I need to reduce my sizing to account for those 3 attempts, because you're trading on a trend reversal chart. It's gonna be messy from time to time. I mean, the volume's still there from the previous highs. Like, and in terms of, structurally, this is still where I'm like, okay, you know what? We're coming off the standard deviation 2 on the day. We're unable to accept above previous value. Let's take it for another attempt. Where do we close the trade though? At daily VWAP, okay? Because from a developing day in this example, the developing day value is value area high, value area low, right? This is that developing day, like this. If we have a standard deviation 2 deviation from fair value, we are taking shorts and we're taking it back towards fair value. The edge that we have at these extremes, it decays when we trade this back into VWAP, right? So instead of taking a trade and looking for a home run lower, stack the shorter term trades. Deviation back to VWAP. Deviation back to VWAP. In and out. Quick, right? In, out, in, out, in, out. I think we all know how we should do that, right? Just quick ins and outs. All right. When you think about a 112k levels, it's obvious of a short. I feel like range now will end in manipulation to one of the sides. I mean, I don't really care about that, bro. Like, what I'll be watching for is just one of my values to get tagged. Like, if I get something like that, sweep, structure break, I'm short. And if that takes me out, guess what? I'll take a loss. Who gives a shit? I'll get long then around here. If that takes me out, I'll take another loss, right? And then I'll capture this with all of my capital with a 100x short back to the lows to make it all back. But you know what I mean, right? We're just going to be trading these values and that's it. Okay? Either way, that's a wrap for today's stream. We've been streaming for an hour, more than enough. If you enjoyed the content, if you would like to have access to everything, we offer a subscription fee, right? At Prime Trading right here. You can either log in and pay through credit card, or you can link your Bybit user ID if you sign up on a referral link, and you can start trading to get access. Besides that, for the bigger people here that trade in the FIP4, FIP5 fee tier, we're doing a 50% cash back on all of your fees. So just hit me up on DM on Twitter or Discord. And with that, I would like to thank everybody for your time today. Remember to screenshot your 1x short. I'll do that, man. I'll do that. And yeah, man, I'll see you guys next week. For the guys in Discord, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Take care, guys. Peace.